I don't think that it's wise for you guys to continue on. That's almost like convincing them to want you.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
Yes.
They just need to choose you.
I always said to myself, like, as soon as I make it out on my own or graduate, I'm gonna get an apartment. I'm gonna get my own apartment. This that. I met Jordan and he was like, we're not getting no apartment. What are those things that we say, if I keep experiencing this in my relationship, it's time to call it quits?
All right, you see the title, y'all. Is it time to call it quits? Let's just get right into it. Big shout out to the official sponsor of the LoveDoesCostAThing podcast, Unashamed Apparel. Grab your gear today at shopunashamed.com and use the code LDCAT for 10% off your entire order. Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Jordan.
And I'm Juanita.
And this is another episode of Love Does Cost a Thing.
It costs everything, baby.
Shout out to the Love Bucks. That's everybody who subscribed to this channel. If you have not, do it now.
Yeah.
All right, you see the title, y'all. Is it time to call it quits? Let's just get right into it.
Yeah, so when we think about this idea of is it time to call it quits, we want you to really just take some inventory of your personal relationship with your spouse or your significant other. And I want you to think about the last 3 arguments, let's just say, were those things that if we really were to work through them, that we would be closer together, that we would be stronger as a couple, that we would move forward, we would be growing as individuals? Or are those 3 issues things that you're saying to yourself, we just keep having this same conversation, ain't nothing changing, and we ain't growing?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like the idea of today. What are those things that we say, if I keep experiencing this in my relationship, it's time to call it quits?
Yeah.
Or if I keep experiencing this in my relationship, I shouldn't just give it up. I should tough it out. I should stick it out. I should work through it. So that's kind of how we're gonna I guess divide this episode up today. Sure. So first we should just start off by with some ideas of what are some absolutely deal breakers, Jordan? What are your thoughts on that?
Here's my opinion. In your dating, especially, if they are not a believer in Jesus and they are adverse to Jesus, or a completely different religion, right? It's gonna sound how it sounds. I love you, but I have to tell you the truth. Especially religions that acknowledge Jesus, maybe as a respected teacher or a prophet, but not God. Immediate pause. Immediate, what do you call it? Eliminate. No. No.
Immediately no.
Immediately no. Because you guys are in essence playing 2 different sports, 2 different sets of rules, two completely different teams, and relationships are already hard enough.
Yeah.
Second one I would say is physical violence. Do we really need to talk about that?
I think we don't have to really go into depth, but just know that it is giving them permission to be this is absolutely not okay. Out of there.
Or even the stench of violence, the potential or the...
Because it may not always be physical. It could be emotional or mental.
Or if you just feel unsafe, but maybe they haven't put their hands... If you feel unsafe.
Verbal. Yeah.
And especially physically.
Yes.
We don't play those types of games.
Yeah.
What was the other one children? Children. They didn't ask to be here. Having children when you want to have children is already hard enough. Excuse me. They're going to stretch your patience, your character.
Yeah.
You guys have to be on the same page about that.
If one person wants children, the other person doesn't.
And the other person does not want kids, I don't think that is wise for you guys to continue on. And I don't think that it's wise for the person who does want kids to try and convince the person who doesn't want kids to have kids.
Right. Yeah.
They should want to. That's almost like convincing them to want you.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
Yes.
They just need to choose you.
Yes.
I think the last thing that I want to say as a big thing is if there's an unwillingness to change, you can work through the personality stuff. I've been who I am since I was a little kid. Juanita, I'm sure, as much as I've heard, has been like who she is, who I've met her to be since she was a little kid. As long as there's a commitment to work towards the problem and work together, if, let's say, my preference in handling tough conversations is not her preference, I can adapt because I want her. Right? Same thing for her. If her preference is, dumb example, but it's the concept that I want you to get, ketchup in the refrigerator versus I don't care if the ketchup go in the refrigerator or not.
Right.
You know, like we can figure it out.
Because it has to go in the refrigerator.
Anyway.
Just kidding.
The point is like there has to be a willingness to work it out.
Yeah.
Because the moment that there's an unwillingness in the covenant of marriage, you actually are breaking your marriage covenant when that's forsaking your spouse.
Right.
You're not forsaking. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Forsaking all others goes beyond choosing another person outside of your spouse. It's also choosing you before your spouse. Especially you, man of God. Love your wife as Christ loved the church, who gave his life as a sacrifice. Willingly gave it up. No man could kill him. He gave up his life on his own free will. For the greater good of the entire world, for humanity. Nevertheless, there has to be a willingness. You want to jump in? Yeah,
that's good. I think everything that you kind of said had something in common with the simple fact that your foundations and things that you guys value differ. And they're actually opposing rather than kind of just being like my preference over yours.
Sure.
And so when we talk about like those deal breakers, you use the word like anybody can adapt, and I love that. But I think when we talk about deal breakers, you talk about like we don't want you settling and we don't want you compromising in the sense that you don't get what you want for the sake of your spouse. That's not what God has for you. Like there is no, okay, well maybe one day they might want kids, so like let me just go into this because I love them and everything else is great. But what if that one day doesn't come? Then what? Then now you're disappointed and now you aren't able to fulfill the desires that are inside of you because you were thinking about that one day.
Let me also jump in and say too, especially with children, having children is a godly inspired dream. Okay? Having children is a godly inspired dream. And we can go there. If you want to tussle theologically, we can tussle. I just want to put that out there. But wanting to have children is a godly inspired dream. All throughout the text, all throughout humanity and history, there's always some sort of attack on babies being born. God needs people, loosely needs people, to accomplish his goal of spreading the gospel. And so the gospel is not spread if people aren't actually doing it or if people aren't here. Anyway, that's like a deep rabbit hole. Nevertheless, I just wanted to add that in there because this is why we say it's not something that you want to compromise on. Because sometimes we're thinking, oh, having kids is all solely about us. Like it is fulfilling, sure, but it's way deeper than that. It's God's design. It's God's design. And so you are by nature fulfilling God's command and being obedient by having kids, and that is a serious thing.
Yeah.
And this is not to say that you are being disobedient if you don't desire kids. I'm just saying that it goes beyond like our feelings in wanting to have it. Like it's a godly inspired thing. I hope that wasn't too confusing.
Yeah. No, I think that's good, and I think that it kind of brings us to this next part where we talk about, okay, great, like we don't have those really big deal breakers, but we are still having issues. We are still having kind of disagreements. Like, how do I stay, right? Like, how do I fight? How do I know that I need to stay and that this is not something that, you know, should kind of like break us up, you know? And it brings us to this word that you were saying, like adapting, right? And so if we use the idea of kids, like you don't adapt to like going from not wanting kids to wanting them, or from wanting them to not wanting them. But you can adapt when you say, hey, I want 3 kids and I want 5 kids.
Sure.
Like, you guys can figure out a middle ground with that. You know what I'm saying? But the idea and the foundation is that you both want kids.
Yes.
Is that you both desire children, which means that typically, right, because there's still some wiggle room for some instances, but 9 times out of 10, if someone says they want something, they're going to put in the work to get it and to keep it, right? Yeah. And so if we're using that example, that's kind of the difference between this idea of like, absolutely not, like we can't continue because I'm on this side and you're on this side, versus like this idea that I just want this many and you want this many. It's like, but we both want them.
Let me throw you a curveball though.
Yeah, sure.
And because somebody is thinking, well, at first he didn't want kids, or at first she didn't want kids. I think that's firstly a totally different thing, because, brother, you don't have to be pregnant. But nevertheless, let's say one of it changes. One person that didn't want it before now wants it, and they're both on the same page about kids now. Firstly, is that okay if that happens? Okay, you say yes, that is okay. Now, how do you, or how should they go about like knowing that this is a true, genuine desire? Like, how can they be sure or firm in the idea that they have now come into this desire of wanting to have kids, and be settled in the fact that they now say they want kids and it's safe to move forward?
Sure. I think it's 2-part. For believers, you have to have discernment. So you have to listen to Holy Spirit as to whether or not you, like, that person actually has like had a change of heart.
Sure.
But I think practically you can just ask them like, hey, what changed your mind?
Yeah.
You know, if they start to talk about how you were the person that changed their mind, how they want this for you and how they desire this for you, like, I think that is kind of an indicator that it's like, maybe this is not really them talking or like what they desire rather, but more so of like they're trying to please you, which is not inherently wrong. Like, some people are manipulative and trying to please you, but like some people are just being genuine, like they don't want to lose you, so they're like, I'm willing to do this. I think if they bring up the fact that they're like, hey, you know what, like before you, and I know people like this, like before like I met you, I didn't think this was a possibility for me. I did not desire this. Now that I met you, now that we've experienced the life that we've experienced, I would love to bring somebody into that type of life. I think that kind of helps you to settle a little bit more. But either way, you still have to have the faith to believe it, because we could both say we want kids today, and then, you know, we have a terrible experience where we see somebody else and we babysit somebody else's kid and we're like, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you have to have the faith that like, oh, that was just one instance, right? Sure. That really shouldn't deter you. And so I think that either way, you have to have the faith in God that like, if this is something that, you know, you guys talked about and now they're saying, hey, I really want this, like, you have to trust God enough to be like, is this true? If you feel like God is saying, yeah, they really do want this too, like, move forward. You're having that faith in God to believe them. But if not, I would say like ultimately it's Holy Spirit that can give you that discernment to figure out whether or not you should move forward, because we can't change people. And we don't know what people are really thinking or what's in their heart. Only God does. So listening to Holy Spirit will really help us to know whether or not we should move forward.
Yeah, I want to say 3 quick things. First, you started by saying if you're a believer, you have Holy Spirit and you want to discern. Even unbelievers, you have what you would call a gut feeling. You have what you would call intuition. And know by technicality that is not Holy Spirit. And I would advise you to make Jesus your Lord so that you could have the Spirit of the living God dwelling inside of you, in intimate relationship, so that you can have the assurance, even though things are a little like cloudy in front of you, you'll have that assuring voice inside of you. It's distinctly different than intuition, but even nonetheless, he's wired you to hear from him even if you don't acknowledge him. And so you can have that inclination or that nudge, right? The second thing is, we're talking about children, but you can apply this to any red flag, right? Let's say they have a change of heart. I love the idea that she mentioned, like Juanita mentioned, like if they're saying like, I want to do this for you, hold on, okay, not inherently a red flag for me. Don't do it for me, baby. If they don't commit to you, they're not going to commit to the kid.
Yeah.
Period. Okay. If they don't commit to what they say they're going to do now, it's likely it's not going to change.
Or to themselves, because people love themselves, so they don't do it for themselves. Like,
it's probably not going to change. My father, my brother, and I, we wanted to get a dog when we was growing up. I might have told you this story. And my father would always say, "Well, if you can keep your room clean, y'all can get a dog." We never get that dog because we couldn't prove it. Right? It would have been unwise to get another responsibility after proving to our parents, we couldn't take care of our responsibilities consistently. And so that's the same principle in your dating, right? In your courtship, especially about these deal breakers. Never believe, especially for my sisters, never believe what you hear. You got to see fruit. You got to see growth. You have to see a seedling popping out of the ground. That seedling bearing more leaves, those more leaves turning into flowers, and those flowers budding, and those buds turning into fruit. That takes a long time, right? And so you don't want to be hasty in this. Look for the progression, look for the growth in those challenging, compromising areas. So if they're saying they didn't want kids before, now they're saying they do, okay, I believe you, right? But rather, let me not say it like that. I hear you, but now show me. I need some proof, because ain't no take backs on this kid, and I'm not raising this baby by myself. Straight up. And if you can't be that candid, maybe not in that way by saying it, but if you can't be that forthcoming or that candid or truthful in your dialogue with them, you should not get married to them. You should not move forward. You should not walk around, personally, I don't think that you should walk around, I'm not saying be quarrelsome, but if there's something that is clearly a defining thing in your relationship, like the idea of having children, like the idea of
moving abroad.
Yes, where you live.
Or investing money.
Who lives with y'all.
Family dynamics.
Oh my goodness. If you are afraid to have those conversations, or
career choices,
or if when you bring it up, everything is falling apart, red flag.
Yeah.
Gotta find common ground.
Yeah.
How do we get here? Okay, what's next? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I think we're coming to a close here, because I think like that's kind of like where we wanted to end, was this idea of, again, going back to the beginning, taking that inventory and kind of thinking about, like, what is it that I truly desire out of life? What is it that my spouse or my significant other desires out of life? Yeah. And if what I desire and what they desire end us on the same page,
or in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Because your desires might be different.
Yeah.
But if y'all not playing the same sport at all, if y'all not both dribbling a basketball.
Because it can change too. Like, if you're saying to yourself, like, today I might want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like, I may want to have like this type of house. And then you live in a certain place for 2 years and you're like, oh, I don't really care that much about it. Like, here's one example I was thinking about, like, when I was growing up, like, house stability was a really important thing to me. And so I always said to myself, like, as soon as I, like, make it out on my own or graduate, like, I'm going to get an apartment. Like, I'm going to get my own apartment. Like, this, that. I met Jordan and he was like, we're not getting no apartment. Like, I'm buying a house. Like, I'm not. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what? Whatever. But he made his case essentially to say, like, you know, this is a better investment, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, the root of it, right, what it was rooted in was house stability for both of us. It didn't matter the avenue or the way that we got there or what we got from it. It just mattered that we both had a house that we felt secure in, or a place to live, rather, sorry. We both had a place to live that we felt secure in. And so I think that's basically what we're saying. It's not the fact that, like, I want to live in a house and he want to live on a boat. Like, those are two different things. You know what I'm saying? And so what we're basically saying is that, what is it, again, that you desire? What does your spouse desire? And what is the root of that desire? And if the root of that desire is the same or similar, that's something you can work through. If the root of that desire is absolutely different, and there's no way around it, you guys are not willing to change, that's something that's set in stone in your heart, then it may be time to separate.
Another thing, lastly, that believers will say, Christians will say, oh, just be, you know, what is Holy Spirit saying? Or be led by the Spirit of God. And that can be really off-putting to someone who doesn't feel like as confident in hearing the voice of God. If this is you, and especially if you're in like the in between, or if you don't know if God is leading you in the direction of the person that you're dating, you need to prioritize. The very next thing you do is prioritize the scriptures, because in the scriptures, studying the scriptures, not just reading, not just checking it off your daily task list, right? But taking time to study the character and the nature of the God of the Bible. Just start reading about Jesus. Don't worry about the law of Moses. Don't worry about Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy and Joshua and Judges and 1st, 2nd Chronicles, King. Don't worry about all of that. Okay? Just read about Jesus. Jesus is the visual representation of the invisible God. He embodies all of the characteristics, all of the character, all of the nature, everything that God, who is invisible, is. Jesus embodies that. So when you see him talk to the widow, you see him talk to the drunk, you see him talk to the married couple, you see him talk to the children, the Pharisees, you see how he interacts with the people who are disenfranchised, you see how he interacts with the woman at the well who was gone through numerous relationships, seeking validation, etc. Right? You see how he interacts with these people. You can then see how he may interact with you in your situation. You can study his character, and his spirit will begin to bear witness in your spirit based off of what you have studied about his character in the scriptures. He will never differ. His leading will never differ from the character of the voice that you see in the scriptures.
So we're going to end there today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Hopefully you enjoyed this. Listen, if you got any questions, any comments, anything that you just want to share with us, any additional topics that you would love for us to cover in the future,
Yes.
Go ahead and put it in the comment section below. Take some time, watch this with your significant other.
Yes.
Okay? This it's gonna be great for you, okay? Whether you gotta leave, whether you have to go,
yes.
We're in your corner, we're rooting for you, and we're praying for you. You got this,
yes.
Okay?
God always has something for you.
Yes.
You're not missing nothing.
So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
My name is Jordan.
And I'm Juanita.
And this is Love Does Cost a Thing. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.